Hello guys, in this video I am going to talk about Malaysian driving license exam guide, and I will be talking in detail about different tips and tricks which will be very useful for the students who are going to have the driving license examination in Malaysia. Please note that all the guide and all the tips and tricks and about all the details about the examination that I will be sharing in this video are pertaining to the current examination structure, and in future there might be any changes in the exam structure. Also, please note that all the information that I will be sharing with you are just useful tips for you which are unofficial and have nothing to do with the official channel. So the details that I will be discussing in this video include the parts that are part of the examination, different since the examination that is taken in Malaysian driving license involve theoretical as well as practical exam, which have different parts. I will be talking in detail about each and every part, what are the steps involved, what are the key things that examiner will be testing in each and every step. And also I will be sharing with you some useful guides and tips and tricks which are based on my experience and the experience of my colleagues. And then also I'll be talking about some of the common mistakes that students do while in different parts of the exam, which result into the failure in getting the license. Okay, so before I go into the details about the examination itself, let's talk about what the Class D license is. The Class 3 license basically is a driving license which enables you to drive unladen cars or motors which have weight less than 3500 kg. What does basically it means is that a normal car that you are driving, for that the license that you need is a Class D license. And a Class D license it makes you eligible for driving both manual and automatic car. Recently, Malaysia has introduced a DA class also, which is only valid for automatic driving cars. So if you want to make you enable to drive either kind of the car, whether it's an automatic car or a manual car, the preferable choice will be to have a Class D license. And for the Class D license, your examination will be based on a manual car. But if you want only to get the license for the automatic car, then you can opt for the DA class of the license. So coming to the examination details, what are the parts that are included in the examination? Basically, there are three parts. One is the theoretical part, which is an examination which is taken on a computer, and then the second is the driving circuit exam, in which within the driving circuit there are various parking and other skills that are tested, and the third one is the road test, where you are sent to the road along with your examiner, and your driving skills on the road are tested. I will be talking in detail about each and every part, and also will be sharing quite useful tips for you. So if you have interest and if you are planning to have a driving license exam in future in Malaysia, then this video is going to be very useful, and I will suggest you to keep on with me for the next few minutes also. So part one, which is basically a theoretical exam, this is a prereq because you can go for the driving circuit and the practical training only once you have completed and you have taken a learner license by passing the theoretical exam. So in order to enroll into a theoretical exam, you first need to register in a driving school, and you have to attend at least 6 hours mandatory theoretical classes. During this 6-hour class, you are being taught the driving laws and basic principles of driving, including all the road safety guidelines, all the road symbols and different laws and rules that are applied while you are driving. So this is very important class, and whenever you go over this driving theoretical class, you have to be very attentive, and you have to make sure that you grasp as much as you can. And secondly, most of the schools where you will be having this driving class, they will be sharing with you some reading material as well at the end of the class. So it will be quite useful if you go through that reading material also, to make sure that you are quite well prepared for the theoretical exam. So theoretical exam, once you will be comfortable with all the contents that have been taught to you in your class, you will be going for a theoretical exam, which will be on a computer. This theoretical exam basically comprises of 50 questions. So out of these 50 questions, you have to get 42 marks minimum in order to pass this exam. So if you get less than 42 marks, you are failed, and you will have to re-attempt with some additional fee. Only then you can proceed towards the next steps. So this exam basically has different type of question, and it's the questions on this exam are based on the driving rules as well as some general driving principle. So what is the division of the questions? Out of the 50 questions that you will be having in this exam, 15 questions are based on the road signs, which you will learn while you are at theoretical class, and also will be shared with you on your reading material. So road signs are very important for you, not only for this exam but also in the real driving in future, because if you are not following the road signs, you are a dangerous driver and you may cause a lot of problems while you are driving on the road. So you have to make yourself well acquainted and well aware of all the road signs, and you will have 15 questions based on this out of the 50. Then 25 questions are on defensive driving. In Malaysia, defensive driving is being given very high priority like other parts of the world. So they try to make it sure that you know all the rules of the defensive driving, you have all the necessary skills and necessary understanding of the rules and the concept for the defensive driving. And based on that, you will have 25 questions in your test, which will be used to test your capabilities on defensive driving. And then there will be 10 questions on the traffic laws. Mostly these are the local Malaysian driving rules, and you will have to make yourself aware of those rules as well. Those will also be taught to you during the theoretical class. So another important thing is that before you go for these 50 questions on your computer, at the same time you will be first given a color blindness test, which will be comprising of 10 questions. And it's very important that you do all of them. Not even a single mistake is allowed in that color blindness test. And if you fail in that color blindness test, you will not be eligible to attend this theoretical exam of 50 questions. So you need to make sure that you have very clear vision in terms of the color blindness. You are not color blind, and you are quite good in understanding the colors. So I will suggest you that you also do the practice on your computer with some sample color blindness tests before you go for the practical exam to make sure that you don't have any such issue. All right. So in the next part of this video, I'm going to share with you some of the sample questions which will give you an insight of what kind of questions you will be asked during your driving license exam in the theory exam. So here is one question. You can see that choose the correct traffic sign corresponding to no U-turn. So you will have to choose the radio button on the computer exam for the right answer for this. And if you have understanding of the road signs, you will easily understand that the number 3 in this case is the right answer for this. Then another question I have taken as a sample is that a learner driver license LDL may be renewed for a period of 3 or 6 months, but not for more than how many years. So once you will read through the reading material and also attend the class attentively, you will have an idea of the rule that the rule is that it can be renewed for not more than 2 years. So the number 2 is the correct answer. So this is these 2 questions are just sample questions to give you an idea of what type of questions that you will face when you will have the exam. And then I'm showing you some samples for the color blindness test. Here you can see the first one, that what number is displayed on the screen. So if you are not colorblind, you should answer it as 5. But if you are colorblind, your answer might be different. Then for the second question, what shapes are displayed on the screen? If you are not colorblind and you can easily understand what inside the picture is, then the answer should be that it has triangle. It doesn't have any triangle. It has a circle and a square. So A should be the correct answer. So this is how you will be tested in your color blindness exam. Alright, so here are some useful tips that might be very helpful for you to pass this theoretical exam and to proceed towards the actual game of practical training. So attend the theory class with full attention. If you don't attend with full attention, it means you're not going to understand all the things. Most schools offer Malay language class only, but if you're a foreigner, prefer a school which does offer English class as well. So if you are a local, then of course it will not be an issue for you to attend the class in Malay language, because the test as well as the classes both will be in Malay language. But if you are a foreigner, since your test will be in English, so it's preferable to choose a school which does offer the classes also in English language. Otherwise, you will be just sitting for 6 hours in the class doing nothing, understanding nothing, and you will have to solely rely on the reading material, which is luckily in English. So just to make you aware that even if in a worst case scenario you don't find a school which offers an English language class, still you have a very bright chance to pass it if you do a good reading of the reading material. I myself attended a school where unfortunately the class was in Malay only. For 6 hours I was sitting there doing nothing except chatting and doing the Facebooking. But the reading material that they shared with me, I read it very thoroughly, very attentively, and understood all the symbols, all the rules, all the concepts of the defensive driving, and I was able to get 49 out of 50 in the exam. Then the next important thing is to manage the time very properly in the computer exam. Please be aware that the total time that will be allocated to is 45 minutes. So within 45 minutes time, you have to complete your 50 questions as well as your color blindness 10 questions. So a total of 60 questions in 45 minutes. But let me tell you, if you know what you are doing and if you have done good preparation, it will not be an issue for you at all to complete the 60 questions in 45 minutes, because it's mostly they are all of them are multiple choice questions. So it's very easy to reach to the correct answer if you know the concept and if you know what exactly it's the cost. All right, moving on. Now I come to the very important part, which is the part 2 of the driving test, which is the driving circuit exam. So in order to go into the driving circuit exam, you need to have your driving circuit training completed. That is, once you will complete your theoretical test, you will get a learner driving license, which will enable you to drive the car with the instructor. And with the instructor, you will learn all the techniques and all the skills of the driving circuit. And I will be talking about those same driving circuit skills here. So what includes this part 2? It includes basically 6 things. 5 are the main exam thing, but 1 is the main prereq or mandatory, which is RSM or RPM. So RSM or RPM, which I've written here at the end, is basically the first thing. RPM and RSM are used to basically assess your skills, that how you will check your car from interior, from exterior, as well as under the bonnet, to make sure that everything with the car is fine and the car is safe and worthy enough to be on the road or to be used for the drive. So I will talk about all these things in details. Other than this RSM and RPM, there are 5 other things that will be tested and that you will have to get trained for this exam, which include Bukit. Bukit means hill. Here basically you are made expert in going uphill and stopping at the top of the hill and then going down the hill without going backward. And secondly, you will be tested for the parallel parking, which is also called side parking. Then 3-point turn, which is basically getting parked on a point with 3 points turn only and stopping only 3 times. Then the next one is the S curve, where you will be driving to a road which is S-shaped. And then Z curve, which is also called jack, where you will be basically passing through a jack type of a road, where you will have to make sure that you don't hit the curb while going out of this type of Z curve. So this Z curve in real scenario will be very important for you, and specifically in different parking areas and in parking zones. Alright, so I will be moving in detail about the RPK now in detail. RPK basically involves checking car from outside and inside bonnet to ensure that everything is fine. So some of the things that are being tested and which are made, which are assessed in this RPK thing I'm mentioning here, and I'm not sure whether it's an exhaustive list. There can be something missing, but most of the things I have already mentioned here. So first of all, you will have to check from the headlights, the headlights are okay. I mean, there is nothing wrong with the headlights in terms of these are not broken. And in exam, you will just have to say that headlights are okay. Once you have tested it, then you will check the bumper is okay, the number plate is okay, it should be readable and it should be present at least. Then windshield is okay, wipers are okay, then both mirrors are okay. Rear lights are okay, signal lights are okay, tires are okay. When you are talking about tires, you will have to talk that tread depth is okay, pressure on the tire is okay, and also the condition of the tire is okay, that the tires are not damaged. And spare tire and tools are also present in your car. You will have to make sure that your spare tire also has the proper tread depth and proper pressure and condition wise also good. And then emergency triangle should be also present. So these are all the things, and other than that, you will have to check for the insurance expiry date also on your front windshield, that it's also not expired. So these are all the things that you will have to show to the examiner when your RPK will be conducted. And other than this, under the bonnet, the things that you will have to test, you will have to check is the wiper water is enough. You will have to check it to make sure that you understand where the wiper water uh, bottle or the reservoir is located. Then coolant reservoir is enough. You will have to check the water level there. Then engine oil is sufficient or not. You will have to check it using a dipstick. But you will have to pull out the dipstick, clean it with a tissue paper, pull it again, and then pull it out. And then you normally dipstick has a min and max marker there. So you will have to ensure that the oil level is above the min level, so that it's considered sufficient. Then you will have to check the battery condition is okay, and then hose and also your timing belt is okay. Once you have tested and verified all these things, your RPK will be considered completed. Moving forward, next one is RSM. RSM basically involves checking inside the car to ensure everything is fine and car is in okay condition for the drive. This includes some of the steps which are mentioned here. You will have to ensure that handbrake is, once you will go inside the car, you will have to ensure that handbrake is pulled up and the car is neutral. This is very important and the first thing you have to check. Then you will have to adjust your seat. Seat should be adjusted in such a way that you are in a convenient position to steer your steering, as well as your feet, your legs are in a comfortable position, so that you are able to use the accelerator, brake, and clutch properly. Then you have to adjust, once you have adjusted your seats, then you have to adjust your mirrors. And when I say adjust the mirrors, you will have to adjust not only the side mirrors but also the inside mirror also. So once you have adjusted the mirrors, then you will have to fasten the seat belt. It's very important. If you don't fasten the seat belt, you might fail, especially while going onto the road. Then check for the warning lights on the dashboard. So next, after doing all the above steps, you will have to go to the dashboard, and on the dashboard you have to check for the warning signs are okay, are appearing initially when you start the car, for engine, battery, oil, also handbrake. Sorry for the misspelling of the handbrake. And all these things will have to you will have to repeat in proper wording to the instructor. You will have to test for the left and right signals, hazard light, headlight, horn, and wiper. And when you will be testing the wiper, you should use the water and then pull out the wiper to clean up your windshield. Then you will have to check fuel and heat levels on the dashboard, and everything on the dashboard you should check and you should explain to the examiner. All right. Moving on, now I move to the actual test after RSM and RPK. What are the key things which are being covered in your Part 2 exam? The first thing is booklet, and this is the most difficult thing for the new drivers, and most of the students fail immediately at this point. And then if you fail at any point, you will not be eligible for the subsequent step. You will be considered failed. For example, if you fail in booklet, you are not going to have your side parking, 3-point turn as was at in that particular day, and you will have to wait for another 1 or 2 weeks, and then you will have to apply, and you will have to re-appear in the test. So booklet is part of the test, checks the driver's skill to stop the car at a hilly surface and then smoothly move forward. You will drive to a yellow line on top of the booklet and stop it. So it's important that 75% of the front tire should be inside the yellow line. Once signaled okay by the examiner, you need to move down the booklet. So this basically is very important that you are more confident when doing this. Otherwise, there is a lot of chance of doing mistakes, because there are a lot of different kind of mistakes that you can come across while doing this maneuver. So what are the common mistakes in booklet? Number one, going too fast to stop ahead of yellow line. You can see here in the picture that this driver has stopped correctly and inside the yellow line. But the normal novice or the beginner drivers, normally when going up the hill, they become nervous and they don't have a proper idea of the car speed, and they stop a bit ahead of this yellow line. And if your tire is not 75% inside this yellow line, then you are not considered fast for this. Secondly, is going too slow and fail to reach the yellow line. So if while going uphill you're going very slow, there is a chance that your car will not have enough power going uphill because of the gravitational force, and you will stop very much behind this yellow line. That is also a failure case. The third one is failing to maintain a balance between clutch and gas while moving ahead of the yellow line. This is important, and this is the most difficult thing. When you have reached successfully on the yellow line, you have checked that your tire is inside the yellow line, you have pulled up your handbrake, you have pulled, out, pulled out your hand horn and warned your and informed your driving examiner that you are done with the maneuver. Then the instructor will give you the direction to move forward. That is going down the hill. So at that time, you will have to give a proper you will have to press your accelerator to a point where you have RPM greater than 3. Then you will have to slowly release the clutch, and then once you reach to your biting point, then you will be releasing your handbrake to go down. But for the beginners, maintaining a balance between clutch and gas is very difficult, and often they fail in this point because either their car stalls or their car rolls back. So in both cases, you are considered failed. Or in the third case, it can be a situation that in a very rushy manner, your car goes forward. That's also not a good thing. So all these things you will have to properly practice and make sure that you properly judge, sense your car's movement for the right position of the biting point, so that your car doesn't go behind, doesn't stall, and goes forward very smoothly. It's very important, and if you fail here, then you will be just going back home. Okay. Another important thing that I would like to tell you here is that when you will be going up to the bucket, and if you are not stopped correctly with your 75% tire inside the yellow line, you are given another chance. That is, if you don't raise your hand outside and you don't tell your examiner that you consider it a done case, then they will ask you to go back. So that is, you will be going down the hill and coming up again. So one additional chance is given to stop at the proper line. But for going down the line, you are not given any additional chance. So if your car stalls here, or if your car goes behind after while trying to going down, then you will be considered failed. Okay, so next one, I have some important tips for passing this bucket RPL exam. Go with a steady and smooth pace while climbing up the bucket. Slow and steady always wins the race, remember. Second is slow down and smoothly stop when the mirror is parallel to the sticks used as a reference point. Here you can see that the driver has used the reference points. So the reference points should be very properly understood and utilized. For example, in this case, the reference point is that the mirror of the car should be slightly ahead of the second stick. So if that is the case, and in some other exam places, there can be situation that the mirror should be exactly aligned to the stick. So whatever reference point is used in a particular driving circuit, you should be already aware of that, and you should use that. Second tip is that slow down and smoothly stop when the car mirror is parallel to sticks used as a reference point. It's not necessarily parallel. It depends whether sticks are placed at which point. But in most of the cases, in most of the driving schools, the sticks are the reference points are placed parallel to in a way that when your car mirror is parallel to this, then the tires will be inside the yellow line. And pull up the handbrake immediately to avoid going back. This is important because even if you are applying your foot brake, since the gravitational force will be pulling the car back, so if you accidentally or for any reason don't press it properly, the car will go behind. So once you are sure that your car is inside the yellow line, you should immediately pull up the handbrake. The next thing is, once ensure tires are rightly on the line, horn and raise your hand. This will indicate and this will inform the examiner that you have considered yourself done with stopping at the right position. When signaled to move forward, press the gas accelerator to a point where RPM is at least at level 3, which is 3000 RPM, and then start releasing the clutch slowly until you feel the car move. That is called the biting point. When you reach to the biting point, then you should release the handbrake and then move forward gently. It's very important. So the next thing, after the bucket one, the next one is the parallel park. Parallel park are also, which is also called the side park. For parallel parking, make sure you clearly understand your reference points should have been identified during practical training. So once you are aware of the reference point where you have to stop, from where you have to reverse, from where you have to start turning your steering to the left or right, then at which point you have to correct your position of your car inside the parking place. These are all the things that will be purely dependent on your choice of the reference point. So if your reference points are not considered properly, and if you don't follow the reference points, the chances are that you will not be able to go inside the parking lot, or even if you go there, you will be either touching the curb, or you will be touching the line, or you will be somewhere imbalanced. Should have been okay. So the next one is that slowly move the car to the reference point. So it's very important for the parking that you should be very slow. If you go fast, if you are in a rush, if you are in a hurry, then you are going to fail yourself. Don't forget that steering should be moved. Steering should be moved in opposite direction than reverse. For the beginners, it's very difficult to exactly identify where they should steering when they are in the reverse gear. So the rule is that consider back side of the car to decide where to steer. That is, wherever you are steering, the back of your car will be going to the same direction, and the front of your car will be going to the opposite direction. If back of the car needs to be moved left, steer left, and vice versa. Check all the mirrors to make sure that you don't hit any dividers, and park inside the allocated space. So using the mirrors and having a mirror signal and maneuver, this principle should be followed to ensure that you correctly park your car inside the parking lot. So what are the common mistakes people are, especially the beginners, do in the parallel parking? Entering the parking places, keep the car too close to the car. Remember, whenever you are going to take either a left turn, right turn, or whatever kind of turn, you should make sure that you are not very close to the curb. If you're close to the curb, then turning at the point of turning, there is a heavy chance that you will be touching the curb. So in exam, if you're touching the curb, that will result in the failure. Wrong steer while in reverse error. Previously explained that for the beginner driver, they fail to understand exactly whether they should steer right or left to move the car when in the reverse gear. So it's very important that you should have proper understanding, and you should think properly before moving the car. Stopping the car not exactly at the reference point. This is, as I explained earlier, if you don't have the proper understanding of the reference points in your examination circuit, then you will not have a proper idea from where to steer, from where to reverse, from where to balance out your car, and you will fail. After entering the parking lot in reverse, hitting the curb behind. This is another very common mistake, because if you're not using your mirrors properly, if you haven't used the reference points properly, then while reversing or while balancing your car inside the parking bay or parking lot, you will be hitting the curb, which will result in a failure. And then another mistake, which is not very common, is that not completing the parking this step in allocated 3 minutes. 3 minutes are very much and sufficient enough if you know what you are doing. But if you are a very inexperienced and very unprofessional driver, I mean, if you haven't followed all the instructions which were given to you during your training, then in the examination, even 3 minutes will not be sufficient for you. Okay, the next one is 3-point turn. 3-point turn basically involves parking the car in a bay in reverse. So once you will be master to the 3-point turn skill, this will help you in your practical life while parking in different parking zones, especially in shopping malls and those type of places where you will have to park perpendicularly. Driver in the exam is allowed to stop the car only 3 times. At reaching the reference point, after parking in the bay, and after exiting the bay while going out. So it's important that if you, in this particular 3-point turn step, if you stop your car more than 3 times, you are automatically failed. So you have maximum chances to stop the car. And this one also needs to be completed in 3 minutes. So guide for the 3-point turn is that car should be kept at least 1 feet away from the curb. It's very important, because as I explained previously also, that if you're very close to the curb, then chances are higher that you will be touching the curb and hitting the curb while reversing. Car must be stopped exactly at the reference point. Here the focus is on exactly, because if you're not stopping exactly at the reference point, Since you don't have an option to stop more than 3 times, you cannot take another step to reverse it a bit forward or to move it a bit, reverse it a bit behind or move it a bit forward. So there is no chance. So if you are not on the reference point when you entered into the point from where you are going to reverse, then you are going to fail. After entering the base, stop as soon as your car is straight. So once your car is straight, you don't need to keep on going behind and exactly stop, exactly put your car into the parking bay. The examiner is going to test how you have straightened your car inside the bay, not exactly how much you have pulled it behind. The next, S-curve. S-curve is considered comparatively easier part of the driving separate exam, and it basically just involves how you are going to steer your car while moving from the curved road which is S-shaped. During this maneuver, make sure you don't drive too close to the curve. And this one should also be completed in 3 minutes. So the next one is Z curve, which is also called jet. Z is one of the most failure causing part of the circuit, and according to the statistics, after Bukit, Z curve is the second most failure causing part of the driving subject. So because most of the students when passing their cars through the Z curve fail to exactly identify from where they have to start steering it, and because of that they hit either the right or the left side of the curve, which results in the failure. So the distance to the side is very important, to which side you are going to steer, and you should give your car enough space to that particular side so that while steering the car, you don't hit it to the curve. So the guide, as I explained, is that keep the car to the leftmost, ensure sufficient space for the next maneuver. You are allowed to reverse if needed. Ensure that you rightly follow the reference points. So if the important thing is that if you think your car is not at correct position, and if you start steering from that particular point, you're going to hit the divider, you have a chance to reverse the car. So slightly you can reverse it and then make sure that your car is at a proper position, and then you can move it. Alright, now the next and the last part is driving on the road, which is the actual goal for a driving exam, because you're going to take a license because you want to drive on the road. You want to be the king of the road. You want to learn in order to show your driving skills on the road. So this is important. Before you are able to go onto the road, it's important that you pass the examination on the road. And passing the exam on the road involves a lot of steps, because the instructor, the examiner that is sitting next to you while you are driving on the road is going to test you from a lot of angles, from how defensive you are, how professionally you are dealing with the different circumstances which are rapidly changing on the road. And on the road, when you're driving, it's not only you. There are dozens of other people who are also driving, who have different kind of experience level, who have different kind of mentality, and you have to face with all the situation. You will face different type of hazards, and all those things cumulatively will decide your luck, whether you are a pass or a fail case. So here is the guide for the road test. The first thing, which is not only for this test but also in a normal life also, that you should be polite to someone else who is next to you. So in this case, if you are polite to the examiner, at least the first impression is going to be good. Being polite doesn't mean that you start talking too much to the examiner, but at least you should say a hello or a hi to the examiner, and you should listen to him very carefully and quickly. Whatever he says, you should promptly and gently respond to him. Then make sure that RSM is done properly, because whenever you are going for the driving on the road test, in this case, the first thing that you will be doing after going into the car, sitting next to the instructor, next to the examiner, is the RSM, in which you will be telling the examiner, you will be checking all the dashboard thing and everything inside the car to make sure the car is usable and car is able to be driven onto the road. So if you don't do the RSM correctly, then there is a chance that you will not get a chance to go onto the road, and you will be thrown out of the exam straight away. So avoid instant failure. How instant failure can be done? Not wearing the seat belt. Important. If you don't wear the seatbelt and you have started your car and moving on after doing the RSM, then you are straight away failed because you have not followed the very basic rule of defensive driving. The next is not following mirror signal maneuver steps. Then you are going to start the car, moving it right to the right or left or anywhere. You have to check your signal. You have to signal to the direction where you intend to go. You have to first use the mirrors, and after using the mirrors, you have to make sure that it's safe to move. Then once you have been given a signal, then you will have to maneuver. But if you are in a hurry and you just move on without properly checking your signal, without checking your blind spot, without checking right and left of your car, then you are going to fail immediately. Next is not pulling down the handbrake. This is very stupid and a kind of a common mistake that many students in nervousness do. That is, once they go into the car, they do the RSM, and during the RSM, they pull up the handbrake, or either handbrake might be pulled up already. In both cases, once they have done the RSM, then the examiner says, then okay, now you can go to the road. They try to move the car by putting it into the first gear if it's a manual car, but they fail to move the car. They don't know what they're doing, but the simple reason is that they haven't pulled down the handbrake. And if they have done like this, they are failed. The next is incorrectly shifting the gear at stop. So it's very important that how you are up shifting or down shifting the gears. At the start, how you have moved it to the first gear. Some students fail to then move the gear properly to the second. They might move to directly to the fourth, and because both are in different directions. Similarly, when making it neutral, they fail to put it into the correct gear. So you should have a proper understanding that how you're shifting the gear. Also, it's important that when you are driving on the road, while shifting the gear, you should not see toward the gearbox. If you are seeing at the gearbox, that also may cause to the failure because you are not attentive, you are not defensively driving, you are looking at the gearbox instead of looking at the road. The next is, while on the road, drive very carefully and very defensively. More defensive and more careful you are, the best positive impression you are giving to the examiner and more chances for a success. Any blunder, any kind of a rash or careless driving will result in a failure. And it's important that you keep the car in the right lane and at the right speed. So you should obey the speed limits, all the road symbols. For example, if there is a school, you should know what the speed limit at that place. If there is a park or if there is a road signal, you should follow the signal. If you come to the junction, you should properly follow the lane, which lane you should keep your car, depending on where you are going and how you are moving the car from there, how you are using your mirrors while changing your lanes. Everything you should be careful while you are on the road. And very important, above everything, is that don't panic. If you panic, if you do things in a very haphazard manner, while changing a gear, while steering, while checking the mirror and everything, if you're in a panic, your examiner will fail you because he will know that you are going to create a mess in the road. Okay, so next, what next? Since I have already explained everything regarding the theoretical exam, part 2, driving circuit, and also on the road exam, now a few things more that you can pass only and only if you have confidence, you have the right skill, and you have sharp mind, and you have good eyes. Very important. If you are not confident, your skills also won't help you because a man who has no confidence cannot be a driver on the road. Secondly, if you don't have a good skill, then also you cannot pass because driving is not just about intuition, it's also about a skill. A good skillful driver who knows how to save his life and also save the life of the people who are on the road is only a good driver. Thirdly, sharpness of your mind and clarity of your eyes because your mind and your eyes are the main tools that are going to be used while you are on the road. How you correctly decide things, how you judge things, how you judge the hazard, how you judge other people's do what they are doing, what they are expecting is very important. Secondly, how correctly you use your eyes, how you check your mirror, how you understand the behavior of the people on the road by just looking at it. These are very important things. And if you don't have proper utilization of your brain and your eyes while you're on the road, you cannot be a good driver. And in examination, if you don't use your eyes properly, if you don't use your mind properly, if you don't have proper skill, and if you don't have confidence, you cannot pass. And if you all these things, believe me, soon you will have a license and you are a licensed Malaysian driver having your car running on the roads of Malaysia. I hope you like this video, and you can just share your feedback in the comment section. If you have anything to ask, I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much.